Hello. This is the first live I've done on this channel, and hopefully the first of many. And I wanted to bring somebody on here with me, but I didn't really talk to them about it. So in the future, if I do a live, I'm probably going to discuss a topic with a friend that maybe is knowledgeable about a particular subject or just has something interesting to say or add. But I wanted to come on here because I went to my local library and there's a few interesting things that I noticed at this particular library. And I don't know if it's common with libraries or I'm just paying attention to certain things now. So I won't say which one because I don't know if it matters, and I don't know if I can. I just don't know. But if you know what city I live in, then you might be able to guess. So I went and I was looking through the religious section, of course, it just interests me. And I found this book. It's called The Bible Code. This one is written by someone named Michael Drosnin, but I actually saw I saw it as a movie documentary. I saw the documentary quite a while ago. I would say like more than 6 months ago. It's called The Bible Code, and I actually watched it on Tubi because at the time I didn't have Netflix or something, and I was like really just wanting to watch movies or something. So they had two of these movies that came out sometime in the year 2000, and I think again in the year 2001. So I think, yeah, a year, maybe 2 years apart. But I know one of them came out in at least 2000. All right, and that might be that timing might be significant, but I know for a fact that channels are getting um, highlighted or flagged for talking about a certain thing. So I won't talk about it, but I'm going to hint just enough so you can go look at it for yourself. But the documentary in this book is called The Bible Code. And apparently, some rabbi, hold on, some rabbi has been studying the Old Testament only, and found out that there's this code embedded in the scripture, not the translated English version, but of course the Hebrew. So, like, here's an example. Sorry, the glare. Here's an example of what it would look like. So, here's all I don't think this is Paleo Hebrew. This is Hebrew writings, but I think this is, I don't think this is Paleo Hebrew. If it is, my bad. It might not have needed to be Paleo Hebrew. Paleo Hebrew meaning the oldest, most ancient form of the text, Hebrew written language, right? So, with that being said, this rabbi did this big old study, and then he found out that there was messages contained in here that told about what's happening in certain periods of history. And here's an example. I'm just going to open it to something random. Okay, before I get into why this is interesting, is because let me just sum it up. So here, I just opened up a random book or a random page, and the most telling part about this story is that the Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin, if I'm saying that correctly, he was assassinated, unfortunately. I don't know much about him or his influence in the government at the time. At this moment, I don't know. I'll learn. But apparently, the team that was researching and going through this found his name in here with a time frame that would ultimately lead to his assassination, and they actually went to go warn him, and of course, they thought, okay, you're crazy. You can't. My death is not predicted in Hebrew scriptures of the Old Testament. Like right now, this was written, this time frame. It's not in there. Like the con. You're bringing me some conspiracy theory that doesn't make sense. And then shortly after, he was assassinated. So that's what the basis of, like, that's the shocking moment of this book, is just explaining that, we tried to tell you that these events are hidden in this code, and that by properly searching through it, excuse me, um, or searching up certain things, people, events, they're 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 predicted in here. And with that, they said, been if we can see things that have happened in this book, can we tell the future? So that was their moment of, like, what we're going to use this for. Of course, man would do that. And my first thought is, to be careful with this type of thing, because that could be considered divination by using means of foretelling the future, right? And I'm sure there is an issue with that. So that's not why I got the book. I got the book because I saw the movie, and I just saw the book and I was like, whoa, there's a book on it. I want to see what's in it, but not to use it as a tool, which I think, honestly, this book can be used to do that type of decoding. But I think this book is more of the story of that documentary, and not how the rabbi is using the code. But it does tell you how it's used. Interesting, right? Okay. So this other half is not really to do with the Bible code. I'm surprised I saw the Bible code there, because it's such a controversial book. And I was talking. I went so in the library, when I go out into the garden, there's these little placards in their garden. If there's contributors to the city, they'll give you a plaque. And if you contribute lots and over a long period of time, or if you're part of organizations that contribute to the library's either building or towards their goals or something within the community, you get like a placard or some sort of memorial. So there's one in the garden, in the rose garden, and for whatever reason, I saw the names in there, and I looked up who they were, and it led me to something, a lodge number. And I don't know about you, but anytime I hear lodge numbers, that deals with masonry. I'm saying masons, whatever degrees or whatever style of masons they are, it's still masons. um, and that's who the memorials are dedicated to. And so I asked one of the guys at the counter. I was like, hey, have you ever heard of the Bible Code? And he's like, oh yeah, people get this book a lot. And I was like, are you serious? And I don't know if it's because the movie is circulating around again. Like I said, this movie, the documentary, was put out in the year 2000, right before 2001, and major events that happened around that time, which is also in the book of things predicted, if you can put A and B together. Meaning it wasn't a surprise. Right? So, but this actual book might have been posted before the year 2000. This was in 97. Copyright 1997. So there's a few noteworthy things in the news that were predicted with the Bible code but were ignored because it just sounded crazy that it was predicted. There's one other reference in here. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I skip around a lot. So yes, enough with the Bible code. We get it. They think they can tell the future with it and they're using it, whatever. But the thing about the Masons at the library, so I thought that was weird. And then I started talking to the guy and asking him, and he says that, yeah, some of these placards are dedicated to people or organizations that have contributed to the library. But, he's like, if you go out to the front, there's a placard dedicated as the cornerstone of the library, and it is definitely a Mason. And I thought, so this is a Mason run territory. I don't know. High influence. And then I started to look around at the different sections that were available. And the whole teen section, I'm telling you, it was difficult for me to find books on like zoology and all kinds of. It's full of fiction books on witchcraft, demons, werewolves, vampires, um, love stories that have to deal with magic and spells and flying things and creatures and shapeshifters. Like the whole teen section, it's all fiction, and there's not regular freaking books. And I know it makes you think that if you look there, that there's no such thing as a fictional character without like something of a dark nature. I'm telling you, the whole freaking thing, everything. I was looking there with my son, and I was like, you can't even get a book in this section. And then so the whole teen section is huge too, and it's just all magic, sorcery, and everything. You can't find a book on freaking animals. You can't find books on botany, and like you just can't even find those. They're not anywhere. It's just full of magic, lust, freaking everything that I don't want my son to read now. And it makes me wonder, like when I was young, is this how all the libraries are? Shouldn't there be more interest sections? I mean, I should have took my phone and just like showed all the fiction in every section. I could have shown it, and I'll just do like a speedy video of it. And there's nothing else for the teens to read. I don't know. What's the point of having a library if all you want to push is magic and sorcery fiction? There's not nothing to read. So we tell our kids go to libraries or whatever, and there's very, very little selection, and they're really outdated books. From the 90s. There's books like these from the 90s on the sections like gardening, religion, and everything is really outdated, which is fine. That's what you go to library for books, that you haven't read yet, and older versions of things. And it's not a new bookstore, obviously. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm saying there's not a lot of selection, and it's stuff that you got to find gems. And most teenagers would not even like search like that unless they really love books. I just didn't know anybody when I was growing up that loved books that much to search. In a bookstore, they would probably go to the newer bookstores and look for something where they have bigger sections of different things. But I just thought that was crazy. So Cornerstone Mason Library, full of magic, not a surprise. Lots of dark arts books. I saw a book on. I mean, I know you're gonna find crazy books in libraries. I saw a book on physician-assisted suicide. Oh God, I don't know if I can say that kind of stuff. Sorry. Dang it. uh, Hopefully I didn't ruin my life saying that. But if you need help, please call a hotline for your safety and others. It's a serious topic. But I just hope that not all libraries are like that. I'm wondering if this is just a small one and they just have, like I said, an outdated selection and people just kind of go into the kids section and be a part of it, part of an experience for young kids. But the adult section and the teen section is a little too filled with all of the same thing. I think that's kind of sad. I, I ended up having to get books that were in a whole different in the kids section and just like a little bit more challenging for my teen, just to have him still be able to read, some pretty decent books, but not have it all to deal with um, dark arts. Anyways, so I hope to do more lives in the future with some interesting topics. Or I started a TikTok page. I haven't really been on there as actively as I wanted to. Um, I I have a lot of challenges in my everyday life that prevent me from, just really going for it online like I would want to. But you know what? God is doing great things in my life. Um, Not only did He change my life some time ago, which is what got me talking about my faith online, but He just, the verse always plays in my head. That has done a good work in me is sure to see it to completion, or sure to complete it. And I know I'm chopping that up, but there's many versions of that verse, obviously translations, but the fact of it remains the same. That He did a good work in me for a reason at the beginning, and whatever good work that whatever fruit is going to be produced from that is going to be a good thing, whether it's for me or something I'm working towards, my promised land, or if it's something for my children, you know. But it had to start, and I'm just glad that the Father started with me at this time in my life, because like many people, I was so lost, so confused, and I'm thankful for the knowledge and wisdom that the Father is giving me. And I know that if I look back on some of the videos I did, there's a lot more that I've learned since then. But thank you for growing with me. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Send me a message. I think I put an email on there, but go ahead and respond to any of the videos. I'd be more than willing to respond back, or maybe do a video based on a topic. But I'm just hoping to get more active on social media, because God is doing some great things, and I've had some great revelations, and I would hope to share them with you all. Um, Looking forward to growing spiritually always. It feels so good to do that. It feels so good to do that. It's so empowering to know that God is giving us understanding. It's like anytime you get a little bit of understanding, you're like, oh, that's the Father's love right there. That's the Father's love, because that's where understanding comes from. You can get all the knowledge you want, but the understanding comes from the Most High, and that is always just my confirmation of His love and grace over my life and my children's life. When your children understand the scripture or something biblical that you teach them, they're under. Oh, my son's home now, so I'm gonna wrap this up. But yep. Take care. Bye.